Hi, my name is Rick Sanchez. I'm with a company called Tractor Tip, and what we have for sale here today is the John Deere 200D LC machine. We're going to talk about the mechanics of this particular machine in the first clip, the operating specs in the second. We'll run it in the third. This machine is a 20 metric ton machine, Deere it's a D series Deere, and it's a long carriage machine. What LC means is long carriage, so it helps with the lifting capacity of the machine, the breakout force, and it's easier on the operator. Price on a new machine like this these days is about $225,000. This particular machine has got 2,635 hours on it. As far as manufacturers go, John Deere is ubiquitous in the world of heavy construction and agricultural equipment. They just build really good, solid, reputable machines. You can see this door right here kind of got dinged up. The guy that I bought it from fixed it. I mean, it closes, no problem, there's no... But anyway, so this machine weighs 49,985 pounds. The widest point are actually these tracks right here at 10 foot 7 inches. The highest point is the top of the cab when it's in transport profile at 10 foot 7 inches. I'm sorry, 9 foot 10 inches. The transportation length from the back of the machine all the way to the front in transport profile is 32 feet. Comparable machines are like a Komatsu PC200, a Cat 320D, a Kobelco SK210. As far as the history goes on this particular unit, this machine was a DORF machine, D-O-R-F. Stands for, it's an acronym for a dealer-owned rental fleet machine. And the significance of that is that this machine, its average rental was probably about a week long. So anytime the machine came back in or went out, it was completely gone through. So this machine was actually over-serviced. Like most of the machines that we purchased, this machine is an original owner machine. It's a Dallas, Texas machine. There's no rust on it whatsoever. We're far enough south and 300 miles from the ocean, so the only salt we see is on our kitchen tables. Again, it comes from a large, well-organized dealership here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area with a comprehensive maintenance program that, you know, is probably some of the best that I've seen. We, as well as our customers, have been happy with all the machines we've purchased from these guys, and it should be said that before I buy any machine, my mechanics inspect it first, and then before I cut a check for it, I go out and I inspect the machine, so we don't buy junk. As far as options go, this machine has got auxiliary hydraulics. Now it's got the Cadillac of auxiliary hydraulics. This is actually a dual function hydraulic system, so you can run anything, any kind of attachment, be it a breaker or a shear or a hydraulic thumb, anything. Some hydraulics are single flow, like in the case of a breaker. The oil goes to the tool and then back to the tank. Or dual flow, which is like a grapple, where you want the flow going both ways, pressure both ways. But this is actually a dual function, so it'll do breakers or shears. The other thing is that it's got this, see that little line right here? That's what we call a rotational circuitry line. So if you've got a shear or something that's got, that requires rotation, you can use that line, or you can use that line to power a quick coupler if you wanted a quick coupler on this. So you could put a quick coupler on it, drop the bucket, pick up a breaker. You know, you can get some quick connect fittings. And anyway, it's a real real handy hydraulic system. As an option at a dealership, that hydraulic system there is probably worth about $25,000. This machine has got a pattern control change valve. Do you know where it's at? I'm not quite sure where it's at. I know that it's got one because it's got a tag in there. I don't know if you can see it, but it says alternate control patterns are available for this machine. Always verify the control response before operating. So that pattern control change valve is somewhere. I just haven't figured out where it is yet. Key battery disconnect. This is the hydraulic pump here. Usually that valve is somewhere off the hydraulic pump, but anyway, I'll find it and shoot a picture of it to include. I'm going to talk about the engine, so we're going to pause it real quick. Alright, so here's a pretty spacious toolbox here. Back up here, I don't know if you can make out that tag. This has got a cover over the engine. This hood opens up here, but half of the engine is covered, so I didn't want to bother with these bolts. This is a relatively new machine. This is a John Deere 6068H diesel engine. It's 159 horsepower, net horsepower. It's got a 106-gallon fuel tank. And that'll run you probably 14 to 16 hours of operating time, depending on your application, of course. I guess there's the side of the machine. Like I say, this machine is relatively new, and I'll show you how tight those pins and bushings are here in a minute. So everything on this machine works. There's no leaks. It's mechanically sound. All the fluid levels are where they should be. The undercarriage is about 95%. There's no leaks on the final drives. They counter-rotate everything. You know, they counter-rotate like they should. Again, this is a relatively new machine. All the pins and bushings, it's got some scratches here and there, but it's in really good shape. All the hydraulics are strong. There are no cracks or welds anywhere in the work equipment. All of the pins and the bushings are relatively tight. As far as the operating specs go, I guess this was originally a 48-inch bucket, but right now it's got a 46-inch bite. I guess these side covers have been going down. This is probably about 1.25 yard bucket. The maximum dig depth of this machine is 22 feet straight down for an 8-foot cut. The maximum reach at ground level is 32 feet from the center of the swing. The maximum dig height is 33 feet. The excavator breakout force on this machine is pretty impressive. It's 29,000 pounds. And the lifting capacity, you can see this chart here. Of course, this is upside down, but at ground level, 15 foot out from the front, it's 20,000 pounds. From the side, it's about 14,000 pounds. We'll take a picture of that and include it in the pics. The swing speed on this machine is 13.5 revolutions per minute, which is pretty doggone quick. I'm pretty familiar with all makes and models of construction equipment, be it excavators or bulldozers or anything else, and I gotta say that this is probably one of the quickest excavators that I've ever been on. It's fast and it's powerful. We're gonna run it for you in the next clip. Okay, so this next video is of the cab. You can see here that you've got your wiper switch, your work lamps. Here's your radio. This is your AC. This AC blows ice cold, and it blows this the wind pretty the wind. It blows pretty hard. Here's your decelerator, or throttle control is what the word I'm looking for. There's the this right here is your automatic speed change. You can do auto idle, where the engine speed is temporarily reduced if the control levers are in neutral for more than 4 seconds. You can set it to where your auto idle is on or off. This is your power mode. HP is for heavy digging and maximum productivity. That's your least energy efficient or fuel efficient mode. P is just for standard digging, just regular digging, and then E is for light digging and maximum fuel economy. This is your travel speed. This is your ignition switch. Over here on this side, this toggles your whether or not you want these controls to. This is your horn here. This actually activates your auxiliary hydraulics for opening and closing on the main hydraulic circuit. And then this one over here is actually for your what I call rotational circuitry. So and then this is your buzzer kill. I'm not sure what this switch is for. I'm starting to wonder if that's your, I don't know if that's your pattern control change switch, but I'm not real sure. Here's your joystick control. So anyway, here's when you turn this on, get a system starting. Here's your controls, your air filter. This is all maintenance stuff. You've got engine oil filter, hydraulic oil pilot filter, hydraulic oil filter, pump transmission oil, travel reduction gear oil, swing bearing grease, air filter, engine air conditioner V-belt. So if you hit this right here, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Like I say, you can't really tell how hard this is blowing, but it's blowing pretty hard. And nice and cold. It's 92 degrees right now here in Dallas. This is it's got 2,635 hours on it currently. This work mode here, this is kind of interesting. You can actually, you can program your work modes. Oops, I just hit the windshield wiper. Sorry about that. This is your work mode here. So if you want to, you can set the flow rate. You can set the maximum engine speed, the valve selector, whether or not you want the accumulator, like if you're using a breaker or whatever, you can. So that's to prevent shock to the hydraulic system. Anyway, that's kind of a neat thing you can do. You can set these modes. So anyway, that's that. You got a cup holder here. You do have a 12-volt power outlet right there. Here's your left chart. So you've got a sun visor here that you can roll back, obviously, and you've got the suicide hatch there that you can take off. And so anyway, we're going to run it in the next clip. another thing I was going to show you guys is one of the ways that I check for excessive play on an excavator. But you see that pin right there? When you there's almost no play in that dude. A little bit of play is natural, but that's it's just a really tight machine. It's a good excavator.